prep work for thinking about writing a personal essay. And this could be a personal essay for an HUC application, or for a cover letter, or for any sort of personal writing that you have to do in your life. So Zach, I see you are in transit, or in a car at least. We're going to be doing some actual writing and some writing sprints. So if you have the ability to write somewhere, you're grown up, so you can decide how you do that. That will be great. Awesome. So who am I? I'm Rabbi CB Souther. I was ordained from HUC about a decade ago. I also have my master's in Jewish education. I did that bonus lap, as it was back in that day, to get that degree as well. Currently, I live in Seattle, Washington with Otto is with us today. He's a little sleepy, so he probably won't speak up much. And my other dog is also asleep. I live in Seattle with my dogs and my human child, and I'm an independent rabbi. So I've served congregations for about 10 years, and I've left that world to do more direct services with people one-on-one, and also to be a professional coach and a spiritual director. So in my coaching work, I do a lot of what we call sort of fulfillment work, asking people, who are you? What do you want? And that's the kind of work that we're going to explore today, because that's the kind of stuff that we want to read in an application essay for entrance into the college. I myself have sat on many entrance interview committees. I've been on the other side of it when I entered into the college a long time ago. But also, being a rabbi in the field for a decade, I've hired a lot of people. And so I've had the opportunity to read a lot of resumes. And the ones that stand out are the ones where you can really tell who is writing. You get a sense for the person on the other side of the page. So we're going to explore that a little bit today. We're going to focus particularly on thinking about and brainstorming and getting some language around your values. Who you are, what you value, tells your interview committee what kind of a student you will be, what kind of a Jewish professional you will be, and why we ought to bring you into the community and into the program. And also, it's for you, it's for us. We get burnt out when our actions aren't in alignment with our values. And so it's really helpful to do some values clarification so that we can make better decisions. Yes, does this fit the vision that my values are showing me, or no, doesn't it? And we show up better. Also, we can make a better impression when we are in our authenticity. So that's what we're going to do today. And because this is a Jewish organization, we're also going to root it in a little bit of text. So here's where I awkwardly pull up my screen share, because I've got a tiny little screen. Let's see here. Let me close that. Review. All right. Okay. So we're anchoring our work today in this quote from Pirkei Avot, first tractate of the Mishnah. Da me'ayin bata ule'an ata olech, v'da lifnei mi ata omed. Know where you are coming from and where you are going, and know before whom you stand. That last part might all be familiar to you, but that last part is often kind of emblazoned above a teva, above an ark in a sanctuary. Da lifnei mi ata omed, know before whom you stand. And there's a lot of great drashing we can do on that, but you'll see where we're taking it today. So we're going to begin with where you are coming from. Know from whence. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Ariel, Ethan, Zach, are you all able to see her full screen or their full screen? We're only able to see like a tiny section of your.
Oh, that's so weird. Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you. No, thank you. Let's see. All right, let me try this. How's that? I don't know why it says my screen sharing is paused. So here we go. Resume share. How's that?
I'm able to see it. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why it says my screen sharing is paused, but if you can see it, then we're good to go.
It's all lies. Yeah.
It's all lies. So, Dame ein Bata, know from whence you came. The way I'm interpreting that for our purposes today are these sort of three questions. What do you value? How do those values show up in your life? And what do those values say about you? So we're going to do a little bit of writing, a little bit of brainstorming, and because we're a small group, we can share out a little bit too. Two lists. Now, the first list is going to be things that you love in your life and seek out. And the second list are going to be things that you can't abide, things that you can't stand and that you avoid. So there's not that many of us, but I'm going to set just a 30-second timer. I'm going to do a lot of timed writing today. The purpose of the timer is twofold. One, to keep us moving, but two, when you set a timer on a writing project, it gives your inner critic something to do and essentially shuts them up. Because sometimes that inner critic can get in the way of our processing. So your inner critic's job is to keep you writing for 30 seconds. So we're going to start with this first list, things that you love and seek out. And I'm going to start the timer for 30 seconds now. All right, that's that 30 seconds. Okay. Ariel, Ethan, or Zach, would any of you be willing to share a thing or two that popped up on your list?
Sure.
Awesome.
So as fast as I could get it all out, I put music, theater, culture, reading, costumes, joy in general, Star Wars, Dungeons and Dragons, and family.
Beautiful list. Okay, cool. Ethan or Zach, you want to share any?
Ariel, that was beautifully written. I also started mine with music. So I feel like I can relate to that right off the bat. But music, community, learning and putting together puzzle pieces of a community, and teaching with knowledge fulfillment.
Awesome. Thank you, Zach. Ethan, what about you?
Also some overlap here. I'll put community, learning, and good food.
Nice. Community. So you're all in the right place. That's great. So from that list of things you love, can you pick out any values? So I'll use Ariel's as an example. Ariel said joy in general. So I would say, Ariel, you probably place a high value around joy. Yeah. But what are some of the other things that you love pointing you to? And you can just think about that for a second. Like, what does community, you have a high value around community, beautiful, but what is it about community that you value? And then that can take us in lots of different directions. So we'll take a few seconds to do that, and then we'll look at our second list, which is a bit more spicy. All right, time for our second list. So this is the opportunity to just air your grievances, the things that you really don't like, that you can't abide, you can't be with, and you even avoid, or things that just make you really mad. So again, we're going to go for 30 seconds. Ready? Go. All right. Ariel, since you started us off last time, would you be willing to share some of the things from your spicy list?
Sure. So I put exclusion, being lied to, intolerance, refusal to learn or see nuance, particularly online in conversations, and Connecticut, because I've been hurt every time I go there.
Okay. Okay. Ethan and Zach, would you be willing to share?
Well, from the wildfires in Canada, the air and the environment outside the natural environment outside in my hometown of Buffalo has just been, and it's really upsetting that you can't even like go away from the pollution. Even if you go out into the countryside, it's still there, and it's hard to breathe. It's getting better, but we all need to take better care of our world.
Yeah, so you can't abide, I guess I would say, forest fires, climate change, irresponsibility. Are those all things that?
Yes.
Yeah, I feel that. Ethan, what about you?
Yeah, I put falsehood / fake people, those who lack self-awareness, similar to Ariel, intolerance, and then extreme heat. I just moved to Tennessee from Minnesota, and I don't love how sweaty I am.
That's fair. So when you look at these things that really bother you, they actually are a really great indicator of pointing us at what you do value, because these things are stepping on your values. So Ethan, since we left off with heat and being sweaty, what value is being stepped on by that discomfort?
Comfort, perhaps shalom, peacefulness in my body.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Yeah. And Ariel, what's being stepped on by the unnuanced conversations on the internet? What value?
I think curiosity and inquiry, open to knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So take a minute to go over your list and do a little like math calculation with words. This value, what value is being stepped on by each of the items on your list? They might point you back to some of the things that you love too. So I'll just take a couple seconds to do that before we move on. All right. So I put this under know from whence you came, because these are the things that inform, I was going to say that make you you, but that's only part of it. They're the pieces of you that inform your action, that inform the decisions that you make, that inform the way you show up in the world. And that's really what we want to read about in a personal essay. So it might not be an opening paragraph of these are the things I love and these are the things I hate and this is what I value, but using those values for yourself as a guide while you're writing about yourself to like lift those things up. So know from whence you came leads us to where you're going. Can everybody see this one? Is my screen sharing actually working? Yeah. Okay, cool. So for this one, where are you going? What do you want in life and work? I put life first for a reason. And what's your vision? Personal vision, vision for the collective. Since we are gathered here under the auspices of a Jewish institution that trains Jewish leaders, vision is a term that comes up again and again and again throughout the HUC, throughout all of the different programs at HUC. But there's a lot of focus on what's your vision, how are you going to bring it to the community, and how do you work with the community to create a vision for the community and help keep it on track. So first, starting with yourself. So this is where we're going to do a little bit more of a writing sprint, probably about 3 minutes. I had slated 5, but I think that's excessive. We'll just do some 3-minute sprints because a minute is a long time. First question, where are you going? Be honest with yourself, pie in the sky, no holds barred. What do you want your life to look like? And we're starting with life in particular. The next question is about how work fits into it. But for 3 minutes, I invite you to really dream or articulate what you already know you want your day-to-day life to look and feel like. So I'm going to go ahead and set a timer for 3 minutes. And again, the inner critic's job is just to keep you writing for 3 minutes. So here we go. All right, that's our 3 minutes. You don't have to share out if you don't want to, but if you do, the question that I have is, from the writing that you've just done about what you want your life to look like, do you see the values? Where do you see the values that you just brainstormed showing up? So it can be a question for yourself, or if you're willing to share. I'll give an example from my life. When I do this exercise for myself, or when I did this exercise for myself, the question of what do I want my life to look like had a lot of, I want independence. I want to set my own schedule. I want spaciousness and flexibility. I'm a single parent, so those are really important to me. And then when I look at those, I see, oh, well, there's one, I value my time and my mental health. 2, I value time with my child. And 3, I value being able to show up in the way that feels most authentic for me. And I can only do that if I've created this container for myself. So that's just one way that some of those visions can kind of show up in the values can show up in the vision. So now we're going to go to the second part, which is how do you envision your work fitting into that life or your vocation, however you want to think about it. And which of the values that you've brainstormed will you bring to bear in both your work and your life? So we're going to do another 3-minute sprint. Ready, go. All right. Since we're a beautifully intimate group of Jewish leaders here, I want to invite each of you to share something about this second list that you've brainstormed, your vision for the collective and how you fit into it. So who wants to start us off?
I can start. I wrote, being a part of a Jewish community and learning life rituals, meals, and prayer, to remain particular in my Jewishness and reaching out to the broader community to foster justice, peace, and joy, to communicate across difference and foster understanding, to see people in the fullness of their being, and to write and learn from my lived experience and community, and to promote an ethical life.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Ethan, what are some of the values that you see reflected in that?
I've been trying to name them pretty explicitly: justice, peace, joy, wholeness, community, understanding, knowledge, wisdom,
Yeah.
ethics, food.
Food. Awesome. Cool. Thank you for starting us off. Zach or Ariel, would you be willing to go next? Either of you?
Sure.
Cool.
So what I wrote was, I think so far I've been able to bring the values of joy and inclusivity to my work already. I'm not great at competition, and I try to include all within what I do. And I also try to bring education and a sense of wonder and curiosity into my work at every level to inspire others to want to do the same. I don't want my work to feel like work. I want my work to feel like world-changing play.
World-changing play. Nice. And yeah, you articulated those values same way that you did, Ethan, too. Yeah. And Zach, how about you?
I just want to apologize. I'm going through the mountains of Pennsylvania right now, so I might be a little in and out cell phone service wise. But I wrote a community vision in which I want to surround myself with artists. Basically, I like a lot of sensory of all different shapes and colors. Artists and thinkers who are probably more, I've been pretty good at surrounding myself with people more talented than me, and being able to support them in reaching their goals and visions. And basically taking my friends' talents and facilitating to help put them in beneficial situations.
And what values are reflected in that?
Community, friendship, a bit of Lador generation to generation, and building up a community and taking that and teaching the next generation how to do the same thing, take what we've taught, and hopefully they can make it even better.
Beautiful. From what you described, I also get this vision, this sense of like a value of really lifting up others as well for like a collective good. Awesome. So these writing little sprints, these pieces might not one-to-one make it into your essay, but the way I like to think of this is like character development. I don't know if any of you have ever written any fiction. This year I participated in NaNoWriMo, the National Novel Writing Month, for the first time, which was super fun, and I highly recommend it. And it starts with a lot of character development, where you're sort of creating these like vision boards for who your characters are. So you are the character in your essay, and it's about lifting up the pieces of you that make you, that might seem obvious to you. So making them more explicit here. So far, this has all been about you, the intrinsic stuff, and like how you're bringing yourself into this process, into your, Jewish professional career. And now we come to the next piece, which is Da lifnei mi ata omed, know before whom you stand. So another piece specifically now for the HUC application process that we want to hear, that HUC wants to hear, is how does HUC specifically fit with your values and vision? This kind of fulfills that piece of an essay or an interview process where it's like, show us that you know who we are. Show us that we're not just one of 5 places that you're applying to and sending the same application to. So know before whom you stand. What about HUC fits with your values and vision? And then also, how will those values and vision enrich the institution? Each of the HUC programs is really cohort based. So for instance, my class, we started in Jerusalem with a bunch of people, probably 50, and then we each filtered into separate campuses, which made us a smaller cohort. And then those of us who did the master's in Jewish education, an even smaller cohort. So I graduated with I was ordained with a group of 5 people that I had traveled through 6 years with. And so each of us was a pretty essential part of that cohort in bringing something to bear on the learning that everybody else was also engaging in. So again, we're going to do 2 3-minute sprints. The first one on the first question. What about HUC fits with your values and vision? In other words, why HUC? So here we go. All right, that's that 3 minutes. Since we're a small group, I'm going to have more sharing out. If we were larger, I probably wouldn't. But who would be willing to share with us a bit of their answer to this question? What about HUC fits with your values and vision? Ariel.
So HUC feels to me like coming home to the place that I have always felt the most comfort and joy within my Jewishness. From Eisner Camp to NIFTY to EIE, which is not called that anymore, the values of the Reform movement have shaped my own, and I can't imagine continuing my Jewish journey in any other space. When I first started down this path, it wasn't a question. The only statement was, HUC is that place which makes me feel most seen as a woman within Jewish leadership and spiritually connected. Then I ran out of time.
Good start. Awesome. Thank you, Ariel.
I can go. HUC and the Reform movement has the wide tent and infrastructure for Jews and people of all stripes to come together and practice some of those values that I hold. The low barrier to entry speaks to my value of inclusivity and justice, affirming the humanity of every individual while celebrating each of our conscious decisions to join in celebrating the beauty of the world and trying to make it a better place.
Awesome. Zach.
I did more bullet points. I I've been a song leader at the Village Temple, which is just south of Union Square. So it's about a 10-minute walk in New York City. I can just picture myself in that environment of New York City. I would love to check out the W. Friedman School of Music, because I've seen many recitals and performances of HEC students that have been wonderful. I've done a ton of W. Friedman in my work so far, and just several clergy people in Buffalo that I know that really, really enjoyed their time there that I've been speaking with recently.
Awesome. Thank you. This is great for Michelle to hear too, as a member of the Office of Recruitment and Admissions, what it is about our community that is value fitting for our prospective students. Thank you. So our last question, our last little writing sprint, how will your values and vision enrich the institution? So this is a bit of a turning on its head of what will you bring to your cohort-based experience? What kind of classmate are you? What kind of community mate are you? How will you show up in the HUC program, fill in the blank HUC program of your choice? So we're going to do one last 3-minute session starting now. All right, time's up. So one last share. Let's hear you brag on yourselves a little bit and what you bring to your communities. hesitant to go first.
Okay. I'll go first. Started again with just bullet pointing things, but I wrote caring, critical thinking. I think I bring artistic sensibilities and friendship. And then I wrote a little bit more, and I think I become a safe space for people to let down their guard a little bit and get honest feedback while feeling comfortable. And then I wrote beginner state of mind here because I think I have a little bit of song leading and Jewish value experience that would be valuable. But at the same time, I think that there's other people who have a lot more. And sometimes it's good to get feedback from someone who hasn't been doing it for such a long time that just a little bit more of a blank slate can be effective in getting the right amount of feedback.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you, Zach. Ethan. Oh, Ariel. Go for it.
Oh, no, please, Ethan, go first.
Sure. I just wrote my passion for and experience with Torah and Jewish learning in all corners of the tradition will help bolster an intellectually rigorous environment while always in conversation with my value of inclusion to make sure no voice is left out or left behind. My Torah is worldly, that is, it is not just Torah for Torah's sake, but meant to inform how we think, act, feel, and relate in this world.
Beautiful. Thank you. Ariel.
So I started with, I am a huge cheerleader for others and try to encourage others to take the chance to do the scary thing. I bring a life lived in the midst of the reform movement and a deep interest of the intersection between history, our culture, and the melodies which have shaped us as a people. I bring my dedication to seeing things through an inquisitive mind to every new venture.
You would all be great classmates. I would love to be in a cohort with you. That's a beautifully rich view of how you bring yourself to bear in a supportive way and in community. So thank you for sharing. And finally, my last sort of word before we can open it up for any thoughts or questions, like you be you. I think for those of you who are engaging in this work of being Jewish leaders, following the path of Jewish leadership, deepening your learning, deepening your skill base, it's always really important to hold on to that dame ayin bata, know from whence you came. Every immersive program has the sense and the ability to sort of break some of that down. And part of that is important in, humility and learning that there's more that we don't know. But also, when you come out the other side of these programs, you want to still be you. You want to be recognizable as the person who holds those values and that vision, because that unique vision is what the Jewish world needs, and it's what these communities need. So it's this really interestingly beautiful, sometimes frustrating balance between soaking up all the learning and the enculturation that these programs can offer, while also really staying true to yourself and your values as you then show up in these Jewish professional spaces and in the world. So this is my contact information. I'm available. I'm happy to chat with any folks who are interested in becoming Jewish leaders. I see it as part of my work in the world to help Jewish leaders stay healthy and whole and happy. So if I can ever be of service to you, these are the ways that you can find me. You can also find me through Michelle. And I'll stop here. And if you have any questions or thoughts or anything to offer before we conclude, we can do that.
I just wanted to add, that was wonderful, by the way. I wish that I had something like that when I was applying to college, because that was very useful, very, very useful. even for myself, who I will never ever go to school again. I just want to add too that I'm going to send out an email with CB's details. They will be copied on the message, and there'll be the recording from this session, as well as if you are interested in meeting with any member of our team at HUC, we welcome you to just call and have a conversation with any of us. The link will be there as well. And of course, you can always reach out to me as well.
Yeah. Thanks, Michelle. And thank you, Ariel and Ethan and Zach, for showing up and sharing out and being yourselves in this space. It's really a joy to get to meet you and connect with you. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Rabbi. That was very helpful.
It was a very good session.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is wonderful.
You're so welcome. All right. Well, happy writing. You be you. And yeah, stay true to that vision. Take care, y'all.
Thank you, CB. Bye.
So, bye.